Wow, what a wonderful day. Oh, that's a really good looking camera. Look at that. Look at that, Jack. You're on TV. Jack's on TV. You don't like it. He said, fuck that. Alright, chat. Wow. Alright, well, what I'm doing today is testing. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. If anything goes off, it's because Jack pulled it out. So, also here, share tab. Sure, why not? Select the tab. What is this? Let's go here. Oh, by the way, I had to fight. Oh, I'm not a swinger either. I had to fight music buys on Amazon for the past 2 months. Actually 3 months. And it was uncanny. I've never had to work for $200 so hard. Well, maybe not. Why did it fall? I don't like that. Cause it's goofy. Alright. You can see half of my face. Blah blah blah. No, it's not too bad, man. What we got here? Do we have 30 songs?
There are influences in the unseen that are dictating a lot of the way your life goes, and these things are known as pendulums or thought forms. They exist in a reality, like I said, that is unseen in a frequency that is not within the same frequency as the physical. And so not a lot of people are aware of it because a lot of people think the only thing real and what's influencing their life is the physical. But thought forms and pendulums are playing such a huge role in everyone's life that it becomes of great benefit to learn not only what they are, but how to get out of the influence of pendulums or to select very particular pendulums that actually benefit you and serve you. And so today we're going to go over what pendulums are, but more importantly, how to go about selecting a pendulum that will benefit you or to tune out completely because it will make all of the difference when it comes to achieving what it is you want to achieve or just living the kind of life you would like to create for yourself. Now, the first thing to recognize is that pendulums are thought forms, and not all thought forms are necessarily pendulums. Pendulums are kind of like group levels of thought. Many people or many different thoughts accumulated create what's known as a pendulum, right? A thought form can be sometimes singular. We're not going to get too nuanced with this kind of thing. But a pendulum you can think of like a mass thought form because a lot of thought power has gone to a particular idea or something else. And we'll get into exactly what that is in just a moment. But one thing I want to bring your attention to first is the idea that thoughts are things. And I know you've heard this quote before, most likely, that thoughts are things. And it's a very true saying. A lot of us, again, believe because we can't see thoughts, that we can't touch them, we can't taste them, we can't engage our five physical senses, that they are not real and don't have much influence in our life. But it's the exact opposite. In fact, most of how our life goes is formed by how we are thinking and what thoughts we entertain. Remember the quote, you get what you think about most of the time. And thought forms are going to play a huge role in what you're actually going to think about. So let's move on to what this is, understanding that thoughts come in different frequencies. And the frequency you're at is a lot of times going to determine which pendulum or thought forms you're going to have access to or you're influenced by, right? Thoughts activate different levels of frequency. If you think certain thoughts or entertain certain thoughts, it will put you on one frequency, and then other thoughts will put you on different frequencies. Each of these frequencies come with corresponding effects or benefits or the opposite of benefits, depending on what frequency you are on. So, just as a simple example, if you think more negatively or allow yourself to be swayed by what you could call a negative pendulum, you will notice that you are on a frequency that presents you with more thoughts that are negative, events and circumstances that also correspond with those thoughts. So, understand not all thoughts are the same, they correspond at different levels of frequencies, and based on the frequency with a resonance, it will determine what you're receiving. Again, there are some pendulums we could say are at a higher frequency, and there are some at a lower, and then there are frequencies we can even go to that do not contain pendulums at all. We're going to go over, are pendulums good or bad, and everything like that. And just to kind of give that away, they're not necessarily good or bad. They are just focused on survival and kind of growing themselves. And we'll go over how that actually works. You see, everything has a thought form or a pendulum. Absolutely anything you can think of has essentially a thought form or pendulum that a part of it, right? So any idea, any kind of movement, any group, even things that seem innocuous, like certain companies, right? Or certain like ways of doing things, like sports. Volleyball has a thought form or a pendulum behind it. Certain bands have thought forms or pendulums behind them. Certain political movements, especially, have strong thought forms and pendulums behind them, right? And what happens is when you focus in on the sport, you focus in on the political group, you focus in on whatever the thing is, even certain objects like record players, for example, VHS sets. These are kind of more inactive pendulums because as time moves along, people take their focus off them. They're still technically active to a degree, but have much less power. But when you start thinking or activating the pendulum in your life, or accessing is a better way of saying it, accessing the resonance frequency of whatever the pendulum or thought form is, you suddenly get kind of influenced into its energy. Depending on the pendulum, this can be either a good or a bad thing for you, depending on your goals. Some pendulums will absolutely just extract your energy for its own gain. Other pendulums may supply you with energy, again, for its own gain, but in this case, it also benefits you and becomes a win-win. One thing to really keep in mind when it comes to pendulums is, we'll go here first, is they're all about survival, right? They're not really concerned about you. So when you're accessing any pendulum, you have to be careful, even ones that seem good. Now, there are certainly pendulums that we could observe as harmless or even beneficial to you in the moment. And so long as they are serving you and those thought forms are serving you, there is no problem in accessing it, giving energy to it, and it then returning whatever it's returning to you. But for the vast majority of pendulums, they tend to have a negative influence on people's lives. This is stuff like political parties, this is stuff like certain movements, and whatever else it is. It tends to take your energy without giving much in return, or take your energy and again influence your thoughts in a certain direction, or keep you at a different resonance frequency. Now, this part is very important, and we'll put the word resonance in there because that's a very important word for us to have here. Is that certain pendulums can only extract your energy or kind of feed off of you. That's essentially what they're doing is they're feeding off of your energy for survival, and can only do it if You are within their resonance frequency. Meaning, if you're not within their resonance frequency, you're beyond it, they can't touch you. So, for example, if you are vibrating at a higher frequency or consciousness, certain pendulums just cannot access you because they cannot survive in the environment you are currently at. And again, its main goal is survival and growing and kind of expanding its own energy. So it's not going to waste too much time in trying to hook you if you're not within its resonance frequency. It's not worth it to the pendulum or the thought form. I heard someone once say, a mentor said, with thought forms, or also known as egregores, is another name for them, is they will try maybe about 2 or 3 times to hook you into their resonance frequency. And if you just don't cling on to those thoughts, they move on. Because if they stay in your energetic field for too long and you are beyond their reach and they can't get you to come down, then it actually is detrimental to them because you actually start absorbing their energy versus them being able to absorb yours. You're now coming from a higher level of energy that can't be touched by whatever this thought form or pendulum is. And so they then move on to whoever's next. And so learning how to deal with pendulums and thought forms also protects you from harmful ones that mean to extract your energy, even though it gives you the illusion of providing you with something good. Again, a political movement is a great one to focus on because a lot of people believe that it's some people believe it's good to be in that, but a lot of times it is just a powerful pendulum that is hooking people in and extracting their energy for its own means, which is to expand, to become more powerful, etc., etc. So now going over this, the goal again of all pendulums pretty much is to access your energy. This is how they survive, and this is how they expand their influence. Again, it's almost parasitical unless you're very, very careful and specific about which pendulums and thought forms you entertain. Again, certain pendulums can do a lot of good for you, but understand at the end of the day, this is always their goal. Their goal is always survival. Their goal is never to elevate you unless it benefits them. They have no heart in the sense of, oh, they care for you, therefore they're going to elevate you. They will only do that if it also serves them to do so. And so within reality transurfing, where a lot of this comes, they'll talk about how certain pendulums will have favorites. And these favorites, they actually give a lot of energy and kind of elevate because it helps them as well. So always keep in mind, it's only going to help you if you're helping them in some way, or there's some benefit to this thought form or pendulum promoting you or giving you energy or whatever else. And so we can think of certain pendulums that would have more of a positive influence that we can tune into, again, because it's going to be a win-win. But we still have to be careful because as soon as it becomes a win-lose, in the sense that it will start extracting energy and not giving it back to you, you want to cut ties from that pendulum and get out of its resonance frequency. Now remember, a pendulum accesses you typically through thought energy, meaning it will try and hook you and get you to a certain resonance frequency via thought. And the way it does this is, you've ever noticed if you had thoughts, and I'd say you had thoughts loosely here because it's not really what's happening, but certain thoughts come into your mind and you look at them and go, I didn't think that. That's not me. I did not suggest that thought. That's not coming from me. It seems to be coming from an outside influence. That is most likely a pendulum or thought form. If you go into a room with a group of people, and especially, let's say, if the energy of the room is slightly more negative, and you notice this happening, it is the pendulum of the group or that room that is trying to hook you into the energy of that room so it can take your energy as well and grow stronger. In a nutshell, that's essentially what's happening. And so you're going to have thoughts that come in that try, if you're not already, to get you within the resonance frequency of the pendulum so it can then feed or extract energy, right? And it will do a lot, especially if it's got you in its resonance frequency, to keep you there. So supplying you with thoughts that make sense with the energy you're currently in. So maybe getting you to complain, oh, that's unfair, this person did this or that. This is a beautiful place for you to be for certain pendulums because it's very easy to extract energy. Have you ever noticed also when you're being like that, let's say more of a victim level consciousness, you're complaining, you're moaning, that you also seem to feel low energy. You also seem to feel drained. Maybe you haven't really done much physically. There's nothing really in the physical sense that should make you tired. Maybe you feel tired all the time when you're in these energies. Yes, because your energy actually is being, in a sense, harvested and extracted by these pendulums. One analogy or comparison I really love, if you've ever seen the Harry Potter series, they have something called, now I've forgotten what they're called, but they're the cloaked figures that kind of suck the essence out of people and it gets cold. Dementors, that's what they're called. And I kind of think that either the author was aware of pendulums or something similar and brought that in, or it was just some kind of synchronicity that happened there because they act actually very similar to how in the thought realm pendulum act, where they kind of drain your energy, they suck your energy, they need it for their survival. I think in the Harry Potter series, the mentors give you all these crazy thoughts. They describe it like the biggest feeling of despair. It's similar. It's more Hollywooded and kind of extreme because this would be more subtle at times, but it can be analogous to what's in that book in that way. I always find that very interesting that it's so close. And you can probably find it in
This
other
is the
stories,
butthole.
Fiction.
This is
Similar
the
ideas,
butthole.
except this is a very
See this?
real thing.
This
Again,
little
thoughts are
thing.
things,
This
and
is the
thoughts
butthole.
are real things that exist.
This is
They're not
known
just
enough.
ideas, they exist within a
You
certain
don't
realm,
have
and
no
they have
tail.
modus operandi. They're
No
trying
tail.
to, again, survive when anything's trying to
Alright, where are you
by
going
extracting
to?
your energy.
Brown.
Again, they do this
Oh,
through
yes.
thought, trying to do that, and they do this through your attention.
Alright,
And this is very important.
I'm gonna wrap it
because
up
you might think, I won't
because
succumb to this pendulum.
I just want to do a test on this and see how it worked. Kind of worked, so we'll see. Let's not get my hair. Whoa, maybe not. I look bald. Alright. So if this does work and I get this stuff going, I will be doing a Duber and Dad show. And we'll be looking at different YouTube, TikTok, BS. So if you would like that, please give me a thumbs up. And test on. Wow.
This political part.
Oh wait, I need to learn how to stop. There it is. Okay, so I move fine. Oh, look pretty good too. You can see all. Oh, you can even see. Don't do drugs, kids. I miss them every day. All right. Later.